One way to reconcile the apparent paradox between the product and the market is to introduce a new concept. A new concept is the concept of customer value. So what does it mean? If you think to consumers, why do consumers buy products and services? Usually they buy because they want to satisfy some needs or some desires. So the point is they want to get some benefits out of the products and the services they buy. So the idea of customer value is exactly this, is the combination of benefits that consumers want to get out of the products and the services they buy. But obviously consumers know that to get some benefits they have to make some sacrifices. So the concept of customer value is usually represented as a ratio between the benefits and the sacrifices. So the point is, what are the typical benefits and sacrifices that consumers relate to food products and beverages? So generally speaking, when we talk about benefits, the idea is to classify these benefits in two different classes. The first one is usually called functional benefits. So if you think to functional benefits are those benefits that consumers relate to some problems they want to solve or something they leave as problems to be solved. When we talk about foods, stuffs and beverages, we talk about typical functional benefits like a food could be energetic, could be healthy, could be light. Or if we think of the general consumer process when they decide, when they make a choice, some other benefits are related to the process, so the availability of the product, the convenience. So all these are functional. So think, for example, to a yogurt. Many consumers eat yogurt because the yogurt is light, or because they consider yogurt as healthy, or because they consider the specific yogurt they buy as very available in the shops they tend to buy. So all these are functional benefits. And there are also other kinds of benefits which are very important in food and beverage businesses. All these other benefits can be related to the big sphere of psychological and symbolical and experiential benefits. One, which is very typical, is the sensorial pleasure given by a product in the food and beverage business, so the taste. And this is obviously a fundamental one, but this is not the only one. Linked to this big sphere, there is a number of benefits which are symbolical. Let's think, for example, to the identity value of many foodstuffs and beverages. We Italians are very proud of our espresso, our pizza, our pasta, and these products are very much linked to our identity, our national identity. But the same would be, for example, in Mexico with tequila, or in the Caribbean with rum, or in Germany with beer. So there are many different products or services which are very linked to the identity of a country. So when consumers consume these products, it's a way to reaffirm their identity. So this has nothing to do with the functional benefits of the products. These are very much to do with the symbolical power of many foodstuffs and beverages. Another area is the area of psychological benefits, that is to say, benefits which have to do with the psychological sphere of the consumer. Let's think for a while to the self-image, the self-perception, the self-esteem, everything which is referred to the self. So if I consider myself as an expert in tea, every time I buy some tea, it is a way to reaffirm the image I have of myself. And then there are another part of this big class of benefits, which is the social benefits. So I also consume some products, foods and beverages, just because I want to show or I want to communicate my belonging to a social group or non-belonging to a social group. So for example, if I want to share with my peers that I have a specific lifestyle and connected to that lifestyle, there are some specific products and drinks. So what I do is I consume these products because I want to confirm to my peers my lifestyle. One good example we can use is the mineral water business. Mineral waters, like any other product category, can provide consumers with very different benefits: functional, symbolical, experiential, psychological. So for example, a mineral water which is focused on some specific features of the product can provide a lot of functional benefits. For example, can be used for a diet, for a specific diet, can be considered light, can be considered healthy. On the other side, there are other mineral waters that provides consumers with other benefits, more symbolical. Let me give you an example. Two different brands, Evian, which is part of the Danone group, and San Pellegrino, which is part of the Nestlé group. If you look at the ad by Evian, the ad is very much focused on the healthy. Basically, if you drink Evian, you can be young or younger forever. This is obviously put as an extreme. So it's very functional. I mean, you feel better because you are more, your health will be benefit by the consumption of this kind of mineral water. If you look at the ad by San Pellegrino, the ad is very much focused on lifestyle. So the idea is, since San Pellegrino is one of the most famous Italian brands, the idea is live in Italian. That is to say, share the Italian lifestyle with all the other consumers. So it's very much more symbolical. There's nothing to do with functional benefits. So as you see, we have two very different classes of benefits. One is the benefits connected to the functional aspects of the products and the service, and the second one is the big area of symbolical experiential benefits. And then we can move to sacrifices. The sacrifices is the negative component of customer value. We consumers know very well that if they want to get a benefit, they have to make some sacrifices. The easiest to think of is the price, so a monetary sacrifice. But actually, monetary sacrifice is not the only sacrifice that consumers make when they want to get some benefits. There are many sacrifices linked to the consumer decision-making process. So we consumers, when we have to choose a product or a service, we have to go through a process. And to come up with a choice, we need to collect information, and collecting information requires time, requires cognitive efforts, requires sharing information with others. So this part is made of sacrifices. Then there are sacrifices connected to the procurement. That is to say, when we want to buy a product, we have to find this product, online or offline. And this means, again, time spent in searching for information related to the shops where consumers can buy the products. Another part of sacrifices are linked to the learning how to use the product. Obviously, we tend to think that food products and beverages are very easy to consume. But let's think to a very classy restaurant, a typical Michelin star restaurant. So sometimes the cuisine, the competence is very much complicated in terms of consumers' perception. So I have to learn how to appreciate this kind of services. So there are some learning costs related to the learning process to get the most out of the product and the service. Then there are other sacrifices that can be, in economics, are usually called opportunity costs. What are opportunity costs? Are costs related to the fact that I choose one product, and by choosing one product, I cannot have other alternatives, usually because of monetary constraints. So if I choose and if I decide to go to a weekend in a food destination, I spend some money, I spend some time, so in that weekend I cannot do other things. So sometimes if the opportunity costs are perceived very high, consumers decide not to buy the product or the service. Then there are also other switching costs that sometimes are very psychological. The switching costs are the costs related to the change of the supplier. I'm very much loyal to a restaurant, so I tend to live or to perceive with fatigue, with difficulty, the fact that I have to choose another one. So this is a switching cost. Then there are costs related to the usage of the product. For example, think of the maintenance of some products related to food and beverage. If I have an espresso machine, I have to spend some money for the spare parts or for repair, for maintenance. So these are costs related to the usage and of the product in itself. So as you can see, the number of sacrifices that consumers have to make the number is not related only to the price, but there are many more. So if we consider the customer value from the consumer's point of view, it is a bunch of benefits related to a bunch of sacrifices that consumers have in mind when they decide to buy a product or a service.